This keel, laid in 1950, was the beginning of an American adventure. It signaled the birth of an entirely new kind of ship, a luxurious ocean-going superliner of radical design, with unprecedented strength of hull, power of engine, and trimness of superstructure. Using materials from all the states of the Union, more than 3,000 workers were involved in the enormous construction job. Christened the SS United States, she was 5 city blocks long and grossed over 53,000 tons. Shortly after commissioning, she sailed on what was to be a history-making maiden voyage to Europe. An American flag vessel hadn't held the transatlantic speed record for 100 years. But the United States took the mythical blue ribbon with ease. Headlines around the world acclaimed the new First Lady of the Sea, an American one. Averaging 35 knots in speed, she made the Atlantic crossings in 3.5 days each way. On her return to New York City, nearly everyone seemed to turn out to see the sleek new ship glide into the harbor with a fireboat and huge harbor craft escort. Her owners were awarded the Hales Trophy, symbolic of the blue ribbon of the Atlantic, and her crew paraded up Broadway for the traditional Heroes' Homecoming. America took pride in her new ocean champion, the most modern, the most beautiful, the fastest passenger ship in the world, the SS United States.
Record-breaking first voyage made the name SS United States world news. Since then, the ship has carried close to 1 million passengers. But those who haven't had the unforgettable experience of glamorous fun and superb service on a trip aboard the United States may wonder what it's like. Preparations for an Atlantic crossing begin days before the first passenger arrives at the pier. Baggage, which has been sent ahead, is loaded. Hundreds of trunks are put aboard, along with thousands of suitcases. Some of it goes directly to staterooms, but baggage that won't be needed during the ocean voyage is stored in holds 9 stories deep. An average of 8,000 sacks of U.S. mail are taken on, as well as a storehouse of fresh food for the 2,000 passengers and 1,000 crew members. For travelers who prefer to drive their own cars in Europe, there's space for 43 of them below decks. During the brief 2 or 3 days between the ship's arrival in New York and her departure for Europe, loading goes on almost round the clock. "250 porters and longshoremen see that the operation runs smoothly and that every item gets to the right place aboard. The ship is serviced between sailings. 60 painters do the entire hull in 48 hours. More than 100,000 gallons of paint a year are used. Meanwhile, a special shore crew cleans the vessel from stem to stern. The United States is proud of its well-trained, eager-to-please crew. At 8 a.m. on the morning of sailing, in final preparation for the arrival of passengers, the ship's staff of stewards lines up for inspection by the chief steward. There are 786 in this department alone, including room stewards and stewardesses, waiters, cooks, bartenders, porters, pool and playroom attendants, bellboys, and dishwashers. They carry on a proud American tradition of efficient and friendly service. By 10 a.m., The United States Line Pier at the foot of 46th Street is filled with arriving passengers, and the air is full of the gay excitement of departure day. Of the three classes aboard, first, cabin, and tourist, the last is definitely most popular among young travelers who look forward to a long weekend of continuous fun. A young married couple might prefer the slightly more lavish cabin class. The bags they bring with them to the pier go to the baggage counter to be checked in quickly. No worry about excess baggage because they're allowed all the suitcases they can carry, plus 25 cubic feet of trunks per person. Everything that wasn't sent ahead is loaded swiftly and efficiently. It's the small extras that are good omens of an enjoyable trip. For example, the kennel master, specially trained for his job, is there to take care of canine passengers in grand style. Those who demand unsurpassed luxury and service travel in first class, where their reservations assure them of a trip amid lavish elegance. They're caught up in this atmosphere from the moment of check-in at the uncrowded ticket booth. Cooperative and friendly passenger agents check passports and confirm tickets without delay. The couple could have booked passage through a travel agent or directly in one of the United States Line's 152 passenger offices and agencies located in key cities of every continent. An officer, one of the pursers, gives them berthing cards and copies of the passenger list, which includes names of the many fascinating people to be met aboard. They know that they're setting out on an adventure when they approach the gangway. If the ship's photographer captures their smiles at that point, it'll be only the first happy photograph of many. The dog will probably feel he's never had it so good. For one thing, the United States is air-conditioned throughout, from kennel to engine room, and for another, even a dog can look forward to his own kind of first-class accommodations, cuisine, and service. The young couple in cabin class have found their spacious, beautifully furnished room and a friend's bon voyage gift, one of many distributed to some of the 694 passenger cabins aboard. Then they check on their private bathroom, phone, porthole, and comfortable beds. The most memorable occasion on any sailing day, however, are the bon voyage parties that seem to spring up spontaneously all over the ship. In tourist class, there's a big get-together of friends who just met each other, and when this girl can open the champagne, it'll flow like water. Visitors who aren't making the trip begin to regret the moment when they'll have to go ashore, especially the ones who've had a hard time getting enough or even something to drink before departure. With the signal of departure comes a sudden change of mood. The vessel is not moved, but the passenger already is part of a new world, as if he were miles away from the old. When the last gangway is swung away from the ship and the last line is cast off, the United States becomes an island unto herself. The world's fastest ship starting on her 4.5-day voyage to Europe. It's as though some great New York hotel had broken away from Manhattan and was moving out to sea. If you've ever seen friends off on an ocean voyage, you'll know the excitement and nostalgia of such a party as, amid cold farewells, the great ship heads for the gates of the harbor. When she's clear of New York Harbor, the United States responds to the commands of veteran deck officers. One of these experienced men signals full ahead as down in the spotless engine room, powerful steam turbines drive the ship to cruising speed, over 30 knots. To her passengers, she's not a machine, but a grand hotel. Some start the day at sea with breakfast in their staterooms, served by an always attentive cabin steward. And what a meal it is. There are 142 items on the breakfast menu alone. The man who's on a business trip is taking his wife along, and for her, it's the start of a glorious vacation. A luxury hotel afloat. Perhaps a better description of the United States would be a city afloat, with its own morning newspaper published in the ship's print shop, which also turns out menus, wine lists, and so on. The schedule of religious services for all denominations is printed daily. The wide decks serve as playing fields for early risers who want to begin an active day. The kids are out first, of course, but soon many others have joined them. The sea air is irresistible. There are 3 spacious game areas on the sports and promenade decks with full facilities for all the traditional shipboard athletic rituals. Despite 30-knot speeds, the stability and vibration-free performance of flawlessly engineered ship design lure many to take advantage of a more passive sport, deck chair sitting. On the open areas of the United States, you get a real sense of being away from it all. Cares seem to have been left behind with the land. The nautical flags spell out, "Come on in, the water's fine." And it is. The spacious, uncrowded pool with an evenly maintained temperature always has an attendant on duty. After a swim, a rest is welcome at the bordering pavilion. Bullion with a snack served on deck every morning at 11 is a tradition aboard the United States. The sun and sea air of an ocean voyage have a way of producing big appetites which have to be appeased at least until lunchtime. Midday, before or after lunch, is a good time to tend to some business of a minor vacation time variety, naturally. For example, you might visit the purser's office, which corresponds to the main desk of a large hotel. Here, among other things, safety deposit boxes are available where valuable articles can be put away as safely as in a bank at home. With the headquarters of the chief steward and the baggage master nearby, Purser's Square, the administrative heart of the ship, is a bustle with activity at noon. Here, American money or a traveler's check can be changed into foreign currencies. A phone request brings an always-on-duty bellboy with a portable typewriter to your cabin. This businessman finds the ship's public stenographer as efficient as his own secretary, but being able to work under such pleasant conditions is certainly more enjoyable than his office routine. For women, the main business of the day seems to be getting ready for the evening's festivities. They find that the ship's beauty parlors provide chic treatment worthy of the finest Paris salons. The 3 shops aboard have bargains in perfume and other duty-free luxury products. Of course, they also carry every kind of daily necessity for passengers who may have forgotten to pack a thing or two. This is more like a city than a ship. There's a gymnasium with enough paraphernalia for a first-rate athletic club. These facilities for exercise, along with those for heat bath and massage, make health a watchword aboard. The ship's hospital, with 2 doctors and a staff of 7, boasts the most modern equipment. Librarians tend over 2,000 best-selling books in 3 up-to-date libraries. An afternoon aboard an ocean liner is perfect for catching up on reading. The first-class observation lounge, with its pleasing decor, is typical of the beautiful salons aboard the United States. Bridge and canasta games start up here in the afternoon and last until, well, who knows? There doesn't seem to be such a thing as time aboard ship. The tea concert could just as well be taking place on a lazy afternoon in Vienna as in the middle of the Atlantic. Meanwhile, the children are living it up more vigorously in their own playroom, whose attendants know very well how to throw a good party. There are also special kiddies' movies every morning. She was the life of the party. Bottle, crib, and all other special needs are provided for infants in the staterooms. And behind the scenes, the efficient staff is on the job. Valet and laundry service are available. In a luxurious first-class suite, a helpful stewardess assists the lady in dressing while her husband makes a call back to the States. Every cabin in all 3 classes is provided with a phone. Calls can be made to every part of the world. In the brief lull before cocktails and dinner, there's a chance to drop a card to friends back home. It'll be mailed in the first port of call by the writing room steward. Then nightlife begins with champagne and hors d'oeuvre as new and old friends gather in some of the 26 public rooms. The captain often greets passengers at this time of day. In addition to being master of the ship, he's also the commodore of the more than 50-vessel United States Lines fleet. A Mercator projection of the continents of the world is the central decoration of the first-class smoking room. Subtly lighted panels depicting Navajo Indian sand paintings embellish the nearby cocktail lounge. A more formal lounge surrounds the bar. Here, the motif is set by glass panels of fantastic sea gardens. Dinner is a high point of the day. The menu heralds a meal which might be envied by a king for its variety and excellence of cuisine. Superbly served in magnificent dining rooms, it includes a fantastic choice of courses. There are 9 entrees, 4 soups, 2 sorts of fish, 4 main dishes, 6 vegetables, and a dozen desserts and delicacies on the average menu. 131 chefs working behind the scenes in spotless kitchens turn out 9,000 superb meals a day. Ship stores include 600,000 pounds of the world's finest foods. All baking, from bread to pastries, is done aboard. The maitre d'hotel will be pleased to arrange for such special treats as crepe Suzette on request. The knowledgeable wine steward is busy suggesting and choosing from his list, which has 171 entries, including many of the finest labels and years. Champagnes, Burgundies, Bordeaux, Graves, Sauternes, these and dozens of others provide fitting accompaniment to so lavish a feast. A seemingly endless choice of liqueurs tops off a perfect meal. Afterwards, the evening's many activities get underway. Horse racing is one of the most popular. The steeds are steel ones and their jockeys bellboys who move them along. But betting and excitement are the same as at any track, whether tickets are bought on the steel horses or on those in the cinema races. The newest version where real horse races are shown on film. In all three classes, horse racing alternates from night to night with bingo, another popular pastime. Whatever the gamble, hopes are high of winning a fortune, or at least a small one. Students and young folk from around the world tend to get together in the tourist class lounge for parties. This can be the gayest spot on the ship when a group gathers for lively conversation and informal music. Two large theaters can accommodate 552 guests at each of several daily showings. They feature first-run Hollywood films and have CinemaScope screens. While the entertainments are underway, never-forgetful cabin stewards give staterooms final preparation for the night. But there's no thought of bed among passengers in the ballroom. For them, the night still holds plenty in store as they dance to the music of one of three Meyer Davis orchestras. The atmosphere in the ballroom and in the adjoining bar is that of a chic, well-appointed nightclub. Drinks, however, because they are tax-free, are about 2/3 cheaper than ashore. And, of course, there's no cover charge or minimum. In such elegant and relaxed moments, there's a chance to really get to know people from every corner of the globe. Naturally, as in any nightclub, there's a floor show. And even the kids sometimes stay up to see the troupe of professional entertainers, including singers, dance teams, and most popular of all among the very young, a comical magician. In the cabin class Harlequin Bar, it's a wild, gay 90s party. Hot music, bumpers of tap beer, and a hilarious mood. The dance turns into a gala ball. Shipboard companions, by now old friends, celebrate their meeting in the fitting climax of an eventful day. It's a shame that it all has to end. But when the time finally comes to retire, there's always a last delicious snack to be had. A relaxed moment to discuss the day's adventures before going to bed for a welcome night's sleep. Individually controlled air conditioning will help make it a restful night. Even now, the ship's industrious staff is not idle. There's polishing to be done of passenger shoes and of the more than 10,000 feet of immaculately kept corridors aboard. While this silent but ceaseless activity goes on, a few can't bring themselves to end such an evening, and they stroll the now empty decks, enveloped in moonlight, silence, and a feeling of pleasure that can't be duplicated ashore. On the bridge, alert officers continue their round-the-clock vigil. When at last at dawn reveals the shore of France, the United States steams into the great port of Le Havre. Another adventure is about to begin. Most rise early and with expectation. There's a visit to the travel office for final confirmations as the ship ties up and prepares to unload. When they've had their passports stamped by the French officials who come aboard, passengers begin disembarking in a carefree stream. It's hard to keep down the excitement at stepping ashore in a foreign country. There's a flurry of farewells and promises to meet again, at least on the trip home. Many make the trip aboard the United States a habit, including some international VIPs. They, as well as others for whom it's the event of a lifetime, feel some regret at the end of so perfect a voyage. Baggage is moved smoothly to the customs shed, where it can be claimed quickly. Then nearly everyone heads for the special boat train whose destination is Paris. The boat train, within steps of the dock, fills quickly, and its passengers take a farewell look at the great ship. Its departure marks an end and a beginning for everyone aboard. Each cherishes private memories and holds special anticipations for the holiday ahead. 5 hours later, the United States sets sail for Southampton and Bremerhaven. Anyone who's ever been aboard realizes that it's impossible to describe the experience. The only way to know what it's like is to travel on the American champion of the ocean.